Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another weekly webinar session. I'm recording this week. Let's start right at the top. So, after getting pretty accurate reads on the market the last 2 weeks, on the sell-off and then the bounce back, we can see that we've come right back to the 200 moving average on the weekly chart. So this week it's more of a, let's figure out what's going on type of week, right? The markets have sold off, hit levels of demand that we haven't seen in quite some time, and they've bounced back to levels of the supply on the higher time frame. So now it's really it's like a waiting game type of thing, and I'll explain as we progress through the time frames. If we look down at the weekly, start on the weekly chart, right? We do a drop into the demand zone, and then we back test right to the level. We didn't get quite yet into the level, but we've definitely hit the outside. And we paused with a little doji candle, pausing candle on the weekly chart. It has lower highs and lower lows, okay? And what comes next is the question: do we do one of these drop-based drops, or are we going to get continuation? There's definitely going to be a bigger reaction out of this zone. It's actually two zones on the daily chart, which we'll look at in a minute. And, if we can get through the first one, then we're going to play ping pong inside of the zones, I think, for a little while. I don't really see some major moves coming unless we just sell off from here. Again, this week, wild card. Tuesday is midterm elections. Depending on what comes, the market may interpret results. And we may get some, increased volatility. So that's the only caveat for this week. But you can see right down here, perfect levels of demand, massive bounce out of that. Right after we get that collapse on Monday, we just shoot right out, tag the 200 average on the daily chart, which is inside our supply zone, and we create a pretty ugly sell-off on Friday. Considering that we've got a really nice week going, all of a sudden Friday was just couldn't get anything going. Why? Well, this is why. We had some massive supply, and we pulled back a little bit. And now the question comes, are we going to attempt this back into this zone? If we can get above here, we're likely to reach this supply. And that one's going to cause some damage. And the thing is that we would have a base in here doing that, right? Because it's not going to just get through the zone. It already hit it once. So it's going to get in a little deeper, base. Then we pop into here. So there's demand here. And then we're stuck in between what was used to be supply zone turning into demand underneath us, this zone. Right. And now we get up to supply, and now where are we going? Back and forth inside of this little range, 20 points, 25, whatever it is, So that's a very strong possibility. The other possibility is we just roll over out of this thing, and we come back and get deeper into this zone. Which one is it going to be? We're not going to know just yet. But for now, I'm not very excited about trading the equities until we get a clearer picture. As I go through the time frames, I see we're actually sort of stuck on small time frames in between demand and supply until they start breaking, telling us which way this thing wants to go. I think we're going to see some choppiness. We'll see what happens as we get closer into the week. But at the end of the week, I think we're going to need a higher low at some point over here. Right? If we're looking at this and doing this drop, base drop. And then we push up. If we're really going to just turn around and just shoot through the top, it's unlikely. And the more likely is that we get the sell-off a little bit. You see this wick hanging out over here, right over here. So we get back one of those, come to the other side, and then, something like this. So I am biased to the downside still, but not as excited as we were. Let's take a look at some of the other time frames. The 240 is still in a downtrend, right? So therefore, we still need to have that higher low for it. Take a look here. We do pull back, and we do get to the first level of demand off the bottom. So the question becomes: that is this going to be the higher low, or what happens over here? Take a look. There's our lows. There's our downtrend. There's our demand that we collapsed into on Monday, and then we start rallying out. We create a beautiful demand zone right here on the way out of these highs, right? Bang, rally, base, rally. And then we run into some resistance over here. We finally hit the supply on Friday, and we back test, and we come. Looks like the 50 average over here was the test. If you remember, we were talking about since back here someplace, that this was really our guide. As long as we were under the 50 average over here, we were staying short. We grind all the way down at the bottom. we cleared back on top. You could see that, and next actually started to curve back again. But look, this is it. We have a 50 or 60 point ES range in here, and they were stuck inside. We don't know what's happening over here. Right? We're going to get a lower high. We're going to break this zone underneath us. We have no idea. So, I could trade the smaller time frames inside this range, right? Which we can do, but until we start moving out of here, the higher time frames are going to be stuck. We don't know which way this thing wants to go. So let's go see some of the smaller levels. There we go. Here's our 60 chart. Blow it up. So we run up into that supply I just showed you upstairs, higher time frames, and you can see that there wasn't really good demand over here. I mean, nothing really that strong. There's one little push over here. We got a little bounce, a small time frame, and that's it. The level was 2,700. Gets barely touched on Friday. Produces a little bit of a bounce. There's one other level over here just underneath it on the 60, and after that, a whole bunch of air. So, what? Do we rally up to here, make a lower high someplace on a smaller time frame, maybe like a 15 supply zone that's sitting over here, and then just roll over? Yeah, it's very possible. This is not looking that strong. This is all the whole week up. If you look at this 60, I don't think there's a higher low in here. Take a look. I mean, if we look at this down here as our sell-off, right? We collapsed on Monday last week. Start rallying. Okay, very nice rally. Where's the pullback? Where are the sellers in this whole move up showing me that we have a place, a pivot? I don't see it until here. This is the first time on Friday the sellers are waking up, right over here. So all this is one move up. So where's the higher low? It's not. The trend is actually still down over here, even on the 60. I think we're looking at a downtrend. I don't see the higher lows yet. I know I'm calling this a pivot. Nah, don't look that great to me. Three candles I like to see. Over here, I have no question. There's selling pressure right here. Sellers tried to test over here, and the buyers are just starting to defend, and we ran out of time. So I don't see any pivots in this move up. Trend is still down, so it's very possible we just rally up into some small time frame, roll over, and start selling off. It's really not, the demand is not great. It's really not so strong. So that's probably my preferred outcome for this week. I think we're going to try to do that. But again, we could just, put some higher low here, pop this zone, and get to that 80-something up there on the daily. So again, we have to wait and see what happens over here. There's no clear path right now. The path of least resistance is actually down, but it could turn around very quickly here. Let's turn and look at the 15, see what that zone looks like. So this is the zone we sold off of on Friday. It was actually a reaction to the zone behind us. It's adjusted slightly. There's a supply zone behind us back there. We'll go look at it in a second, but you can see what happened over here. A little double top action, bang, bang, with all kinds of air underneath us. A nice little V-top forming over here with a little higher low back into the supply, and then just boom, collapse. Goes through all this bullshit. No demand here. Garbage. Just goes right through all that. Stops somewhere over here, right? Maybe on this doji, it looks like, actually. A little before my zone, right at 2,700, right? And then starts to, react a little bit. So, supply over here, yeah, it looks like it's even smaller than the 15. There's something right over here. Drop, base, drop, right? And maybe that's the one that will close. If we get a lower high over here, I would say it's over. Start getting short again, and we're going to aim even lower than last week's lows, So keep your eye on this level over here. Must be like a 5-minute zone. Let's go see. Yeah, I actually drew it. Okay, 36 quarter to 30. It says 36 quarter to 32 half. This supply zone. You could see it was the flip area. Look to the left, and that's the one that we have to clear, right? For this thing to start getting up here. We have to get through this monster thing. And there's one more supply over here also. That's the 15 zone that I drew already, right? So that's what we're looking at. One of those things start breaking, it creates demand over here and can hold up price a little bit, so maybe we have a chance to start rallying back to the top and try to get to that 80 level. Otherwise, lower highs over here, just short. Let's go look. If that happens, what's the target? Let's take a look. Open up the higher time frame chart. This is our daily, and let's see what happens if we roll over at this level and push down lower. So the demand goes down to 25.84, but we got damn close to that thing already. Yeah, I would have to say we're looking at something even lower than that. Right? If we roll over from this level right here, make a lower high again, and come back down here and break the bottom. So we're not stopping over here. Forget about it. 25.50. That's the level. That's the next pause. So very possible. All right, let's move on to NASI. So we're looking at the NASI. We can see one sell-off right off the top on the weekly chart. It's in an uptrend. Come into demand. And we get a little pause, right? A nice looking doji. So again, those, can go either way, right? We still have lower high, lower low of this candle. It's very, very possible we just keep going. I think we might even see a test of 6,000 potentially on this chart. Depending again what happens on the smaller time frames, sort of like what we talked about for the ES. You can see that on the daily chart we come right into our demand zone. I'll show it to you in a second. We bounce back. There's the test of the 200 average, and it fails with a big ass doji on Friday, inverted. And if we come underneath, so that's it. We'll end up with another low under here. Unlikely. The only way that that NQ can get saved, you see this little gap over here? That's this zone right over here on the 240. That's the only zone that can stop this thing from really collapsing. So again, if we do get the higher lows out of this level, then we have a chance to get a little deeper. But you can see there's a ton of supply up here. I mean, it's no easy sailing back to the top over here at all. This is still valid supply. This is a fantastic zone. You can see look at the location, what happened over here, double top, little drop, base drop, tested, and then collapse. 50 averages inside the zone. I mean, that's it. So, we're not getting through the top very fast. I think at some point, close towards the end of the year, we will start to rally back to the top. I don't know if we're going to see new highs again this year. It's probably unlikely, but we may, get back, maybe up to this level, 7,500 or so like that. But this chart's still saying down. It's not looking very good until we start building a higher low. So this is the level that we're going to have to watch this week, much like the ES. If it's able to hold this level, so then we have some room. We could run back to here, build, start doing this type of stuff. But if we get a lower high out of this level, which is very possible, show you the supply zones, and we're collapsing under here. We could look at potentially 6,000, something nasty. So there's our NQ. You can see, on the 60 we're really tight. Right? We've hit supply back here. This thing, little level on level. I took the higher part, but it's touched it straight off the bottom. Again, if you look in the candles here, this is a clear downtrend, and then we just do base, rally, base, rally, base, rally, and then finally. So this is all one move again. I mean, this is really not an uptrend. And here's the first time the sellers are taking control of this market right here, straight down. So here's the first pivot. Okay, great. So if we're going to get into an uptrend, we have to clear this pivot. That's what it comes down to. Is to turn around and go back up here. And then I'll call this an uptrend. Until then, yeah, it's a strong bounce. We've hit levels of demand that we haven't hit in God knows how long, right? And we bounced almost 1,000 points off the bottom, right? Something a little less than 1,700, whatever. A huge bounce, but it's still one directional. This is the first time we're selling off. Again, now it's decision time. Are we going to make the high or low, or are we just going to just, drop base, and work our way back down? So, again, we're stuck. Look how tight we are currently. I mean, this is just ridiculous, right? Demand is actually, books against the wall over here. I tightened it to take out the bodies, and then this is the failed hammer supply over here. You can see what it was. And it's just banging around over here. We're stuck inside this little thing here. On the outside, if we do pop the top over there, so then we're coming back into this 15 supply zone, it's almost the same thing, obviously. Over here, there's the, it's actually a 5. It's the 5 supply, just like ES, this thing. Right, that's the supply zone that would have to hold. You can see it's building a small time frame. Look, bottom over here, so pops into that sucker. I would be trying the shorts at this point still. Okay, it's right over here, opposite the rally up there. It did the same thing on Friday, right? The back inverted V top, right? Pushed up, bang, collapses, and that's it. So, yeah, I'm still looking short, and we'll see what happens as we start to build our way. If we can hold that 240 demand zone underneath us, we have a chance to rally. Otherwise, we're looking for 6,000. All right, let's move on to crude. Okay, looking at crude, we can see another wicked red week sell-off. Again, notice it's one direction off on the weekly chart, and we're still not in the demand. The demand is looking to be at 60. Where the bounce is coming. So from what I can tell, based on these lower time frame charts, all roads are leading to 60. The only thing is, even 60 on a small time frame doesn't look that good. It's very possible we actually break 60. But for now, that would have to be the target. 60, you can expect a big fight. You can expect a big bounce. We're coming up with the Iran sanction dates coming to close. And we got elections coming on. And crude's going to be a little volatile. We have that little open part of this little gap type thing that we had earlier this week. You can see that this is really one directional. Drop, base, drop, base, drop, base, drop, base, drop, base, drop. Straight down, leading to demand over here at 60. That's sort of fresh. Pretty big zone on the daily chart, and it's like 62 down to 60, so huge on the daily. There's like 2 zones. I think this thing is in two zones now on some of the smaller time frames. And I don't want to say it, but really the only really clean, fresh zone on the smaller time frame is actually here. There's a bunch of air, even under 60. Potential to get all the way down to 59.50, 59. I mean, it's just ugly. We're still expecting a bounce back at some point, right? Because there is no lower high over here. So there has to be some defense somewhere. The buyers that did all this are going to show up sooner or later. And then there'll be a back test. It looks to me to be like around 65, especially if we get down to 60. We could have like a $5 bounce. Notice, that's the level that we just took out, this little middle over here. The lows that we're sitting over here, it's right around 65-ish. 50 average, even then, so 200 average is even higher than that. But a bounce back to 65 we're due for it. It's just we're not at the demand zone that can do it yet, and therefore we have to stay short still. Okay, so let's go look down into the zones. Here's our 240, and you can see the drop base, drop base, drop base, drop base, drop. No real strong rallies. We were looking at a potential long. I think together we were trading on Wednesday, and then it failed. We were watching this thing over here, getting ready for break out of this, and when it didn't, we lost another $6 after that over the next coming couple of days. And now we're still, we just pierced. There was a zone over here. We just pierced it, building air down. And we've got air down to 62. So 62 is almost a given at this point. And I think even 60 is probably going to get tagged. Let's look at the levels underneath us over here. I think the bounce we're looking for is not going to come until we get to 60. So 62 again, even on the 240 chart, it's a big zone. And then we get down into the zone that's, whatever it is, 60 and change down to 60. So it is 2 zones on the 60 chart, on the 240 chart, sorry, and we'll keep refining it, but on the lower time frames, the zones don't look good at all. They don't look like they're strong enough to hold. I mean, it's just not something I would be willing to buy at all. So until it starts holding the bottom, building a bottom for us, then, we could try to get into the bounce back to 65, but for now, nowhere near doing that yet. So totally shorts. I mean, every zone is working. Every little pushback is collapsing. We're having no strength in this market whatsoever. We were trading well back here after we were able to make this high. I think, where was it? Yeah, we're here. And then we were watching this thing getting ready to blow out of the 60. We were watching a failed hammer. Where is it? Was getting ready to explode out of this zone for us. And then it ended up collapsing somewhere over here. I forgot what day we were looking at. Right here. Right, we were trading long in there. We were watching this bottom form, and then we were just dropping. And we held the level. We shot right out. Remember, high or low, and then right over here we had gotten a pullback. We were watching the long, and over here, right here, right, at the inverted hammer. And instead of continuing down, we get this, and we're ready to close outside of this whole air up here, right? Get really excited, and couldn't get going. As a matter of fact, it just turned over right away and just collapsed. And it's just straight down. There's no strength here, okay? No longs at all. Sell supply zones all the way down to 60. Let's take a look here. So, small time frame supply is still working. It's at 15. And that's really the only decent level that we're looking at currently. Back over here. Otherwise, as we start to break the bottom, there'll be new levels forming. We'll have to just keep shorting all the way down into 60. Okay? That's crude. Let's go take a look what happened with the dollar this week. Okay, so we see at the end of the week, a dollar turns into a doji candle after actually clearing the prior pivot high by just a little bit. You can see that up here in the daily chart, right? Immediately gets rejected the following day, comes straight back to the demand zone underneath and tries to put a hammer. Well, that's a really dangerous candle because the bounce over here, right, is a test of the 200 average. Right? And we put on this doji, potentially a double top on a weekly chart, which would point to this, where the middle would be here. Oh, danger. Problem, right? So there's some demand underneath us on the, the daily and whatever, but weekly candles underneath this doji here is going to be screaming shorts, okay? So something going on here on the dollar chart is telling us that maybe this was just a stop out up here. Okay, we need to retrace this big sell-off if the dollar is going to keep its rally going. Personally, I don't think it is, but we'll find out soon enough. Right now, it looks to me like we're getting a little bounce back, but needs to get out of here. Right, we're looking at a potential double little inverted head and shoulders. Sorry, not the inverted regular head and shoulders. The neckline is back here, right, and we have to see what happens right over here. You can see we shot back up, put on the little doji. We have to get back up here. And we have to get back through these levels. So if the dollar gets, continued to the top side, so then we have no more problem. No issue at all. It's just a little pause on the way up. We hold the bottoms over here on the weekly chart. We can shoot up higher into the supply zone, which has not been touched yet, right? It's a fresh supply zone. Right, we get close a couple of times over here. It should cause a decent pullback. But if we push up higher into that, so then we'll have some demand over here that we can look at as a potential place where we'll pull back into, right? So for now, that's what we're looking at. We don't know which way this thing is going. We'll have to watch and see if we can get back to the highs. If we get back to the highs, we can expect to get stuck someplace around 97. Otherwise, we're going to collapse. And we have a chance to go all the way back to 92. All right, let's see. Take a look at gold and some of the currencies. We'll try to figure out what they're going to show us about the dollar. Okay, as you can see, gold on the weekly chart is doing pretty nicely over here and still holding the highs and rallying straight up. And then we get this candle this week, right? You can see that the 200 moving average is sort of holding the closing price of the weekly candle so far, but a very nice looking hammer on the weekly chart, right? We try to push down, and we couldn't get close anywhere near the bottom. We turn around. So the only problem is that it's red, which means, potentially a failed hammer. or, we need to get back above. That's what the bottom line is. We need to clear the top and get up. If we do, we're looking at 1250 plus, 50 something, up into those higher zones where the breakout happened from the bottoms over here. So we, also have the elections coming this week, which will cause some volatility in the gold market. So we have a couple of nice levels underneath us. I'd be looking to buy pullbacks. Gold is looking fairly strong. We had one little test so far. We had this supply zone, you can see that, right? And we sell off and pick up some demand over here. It looks like a test of a little breakout and immediately shoot back into the range. We're likely to continue maybe a little pullback one more time somewhere over here, and then bang, bang, right at the top. We should be getting through the top of this thing, hopefully this week. So any little pullbacks on smaller time frames into gold is what I would be looking for as a chance into the entry. Okay, so right now we're building a bull flag over here. On the 240 chart, there should be a nice zone right around 1225 over here someplace on the little time frame where we took out this supply zone across here, and then we shoot back up. Maybe we get a little wick, and then boom, out of here. Right? We don't want to go back into this area because obviously a ton of air over there. There's still that level underneath us that I have an order sitting at. I will leave it there. Hopefully, maybe on volatility of the elections, we get some kind of wick down into one of those zones under there. Otherwise, we have to look at something a little bit higher up. Okay, I'm going to show you again what we're looking at. Gold, long, pull back into demand, buy long. Okay, gold, lower time frames. Hello, come on, Mr. Chart. Why are you not behaving? All right, there we go. Technical difficulty there for a sec. So let's see our 60 chart. All right, there's the pullbacks that we can potentially see. We're basing on top of this demand zone currently. There's the supplies, wicks against the wall, right? Chopped it down a little because it's a little big, but clearly there. The doji underneath us over here is the zone. This is the one I was just talking about on the little higher time frame that would be here. So a pullback of 24 and change is definitely something interesting. Right? If we get a shot into that, I would say we maybe get one of these things over here, right? And then boom, on the top. Breakout above here is also a valid trade. You can see we have plenty of air all the way back to 45. That level's not even fresh, so this is a higher low. If we zoom out a little bit, so yeah, no problem. Taking breakouts above here. Yeah, nice. So, okay. So, yeah, this is the only one. After this zone, if that zone gets cleared, there's a big pocket of air under here. So, right now, this is still fresh based on this chart, untouched, doable totally. We're bull flagging. This one is fantastic. Should we start just crushing through these zones again because of, some kind of news event? So the one that I'm still looking, my order is still down there. I think it's on. At least have something down here. Yeah. No, I must have canceled it. I'm going to put it back on before the event. But down here, that's the zone. That's the one I keep showing you. I'll go look at it one more time. Remind ourselves what it looks like. It's super duper duper zone. All right. Okay. All right, over here. Nice looking zone. So potential long. Otherwise, some of the higher zones up there. Looks like for now, the one at the 23 and changed to small zone, 10 ticks right inside there. Cool. Long gold. Next. See what the euro is showing. Okay. So, based on our weekly chart for the euro, you can see that we've come back to the last level of demand. Again, it's not a fresh level. It was formed back here. And then we rallied up and actually made lower highs, and we've come back to the zone. We were able to bounce a little bit out of it so far, but that doesn't look too strong to me. Potentially, all the way over here is the next level should we start breaking down through here. And I'll say should because there is one chance for this thing to get saved. which I'll show you in a minute, and then, obviously then it has a chance to create a double bottom and maybe rally back out. We don't really know. From the higher time perspective, not sure yet. For the lower time frames, we'll see that we still want to be short for now until we are able to create a higher low, and I'll show you where I think it's going to happen, if it's going to happen at all. For now, we can see we came back down into the demand. We have a huge head and shoulders sitting over here in the daily chart. Humongous, right? And there's the level. There's the supply zone. Drop, base drop, doji candle. Come into the demand and immediately shoot right into the supply, and then already the reaction. Right? So a big rejection so far. It's an inverted hammer. If it gets the continuation, we're breaking the bottom. Right? That's what we should see here, if it gets the continuation. Right? Otherwise, it could fail and we start rallying a little bit. We don't know yet. Right? Inverted hammer. Fine. Keep going through the time frames. 240 chart. It bears the shoot off the bone, off the zone. Okay? We're channeling down. We're in a downtrend on the daily and the 240, channeling down, 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 down. We hit the demand. This is the double bottom level on the daily. On the way up, we did this, which is the only spot that can save this thing. Okay, there's actually, it looks like for me, from here, if we're able to create a higher low, right, then we have a chance to start going. But that's still far away, 142 to 137. Hello. So still plenty of room underneath us. We've got to stay short over here. This is a counter trend move up into the supply. If you took the short, stay there. Don't get out yet. Keep looking a little bit lower still. I'll show you some zones that might stop price. Okay. Here's our EC chart on the 60. Okay. So there's something going on right over here. You see this, where we did this little, right? So that's about it. For now, you can see we're in the air. Any push up into some smaller time frame, anywhere over here, valid shorts. This level should have a lower high coming back to it. We pop that as air, somewhere around 137 and change. There's actually a fantastic doji sitting over here on the 15. I think that's the only really spot that can save this chart from 1.12. Right? And that's what the higher time frames demand is underneath us. There's only one really decent demand zone that I might be concerned with. It's actually this thing over here. And this one. Right here. 136 and change. This doji right over here. That's the one that's maybe at a whole price. So any short over here, you see we're in the air. So if we rally back anywhere, it's a smaller time frame supply is valid. This is all a bear flag. Big push down. These zones, they're not going to do anything other than, especially if we break down over here, maybe you get a little pop, another lower high, boom, boom, boom. This one down here, this doji thing, that has the chance to stop this. And if it doesn't, we're breaking the bottom. The head and shoulders of the daily chart's going to start to play out, and we're looking at a massive potential sell-off, which means over here, we might start to think that the dollar is actually going to take out the highs over there, right? So if we're able to start doing this, that's what's going to happen here. The dollar's going to keep going, and this thing's going to collapse underneath the double, the head and shoulders up here in the higher time frame. So we'll know very shortly, right? You got to stay short into that doji level on the 15, and if we're able to hold it, so then maybe we kill the shorts. If we start breaking through that zone, we're looking at a wicked sell-off to 1.12 on the weekly chart is the next demand zone. So Euro's in a precarious situation this week. All right, so stay short until we get down into that zone, and then we'll figure out what the start is. Cool. Let's go look at some of the other currencies. Okay, looking at the Aussie dollar. We're looking at a nice little bounce coming back, right? Like most currencies, we're getting an engulfing, nice pop on the weekly chart. It looks like we came back to test the trend line. By the way, the middle of the Bollinger Band, if you look carefully, is the trend line. Let's see, the gray line in here is the trend line, is the Bollinger Band, is the test that we just did. And it's been holding price down under here for weeks and weeks and weeks on the, all the way back since April. So before under here, and we just have been following this bottom middle Bollinger Band down, 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 down. We finally come into some monthly demand, right? Pretty strong level and a nice strong bounce on the daily. The problem is that we didn't build anything on the way up. It's one shot right into the supply zone. And immediately we get this inverted hammer rejection. So, Aussie is probably one of the stronger looking currencies, but still at this point needs a sell-off, I think, back to this demand zone over here. It needs to create a higher low someplace if it's really going to rally. I mean, look at the weekly chart. Where the hell is the higher low? Nowhere. Bounce, sell-off, bounce, sell-off. So until it starts creating some kind of strength, this is the level that can do it if it wants to get down there. Right now, that would be the spot where I would be looking to get out of any shorts in the euro. If you're in the short up here, you could have totally taken on the downtrend flying right up into the supply zone. One move up on the daily, I can understand that. We've reached 240 demand. It looks like we're basing inside this level, likely to pop it only because, we need a little back test over here. Somewhere to 7120, it's basically, top of these wicks, somewhere over here, and a higher low. Then we could talk about maybe, starting something a little bigger on the long side. But if you're a short euro, Aussie, get out over here. Let's take a look on the 60. Yeah, see a couple of levels of demand, not that strong, but that's the 7120 is the one. That's the spot. You can see what it was. Nice strong demand zone, taking out all the prior highs. That's the level I would be looking for. If that breaks, then we're going through the bottom again. Okay. That's what Aussie is going on. This is an uptrend on the 60. If you want to buy the lower time frames, you can. Long, but there's supply right here. I wouldn't be buying this one. There's no room to make any money. So keep that in mind. If you want to be short, some of the other currencies look better. Cool. Let's go look at pounds. What are we holding for pounds?
The recording has started.
As you can see on the pounds as well, we get back down into the weekly level down underneath us and a pop. Right? And so again, the same idea, the level comes from back behind us. And last time we touched it here, make lower highs, come back to the zone, we get a decent pop. So it could form a double bottom. But the problem is, it needs to break through supplies, which it's not doing currently. So let's take a look. More likely, I think, as we're rolling over out of here, we're probably going to test the lows underneath us, break it down underneath that zone. We have a downtrend on the daily chart coming into the zone, right? And we get a nice pop, which is great. Shoot straight to the test of the doji that was breaking the middle, and we start selling off already, right? So there's definitely supply there. If we look at the 240 chart, this is one move off the bottom, rally base, no higher lows again. So the only way we're going to really rally is if we sell off, which we're going to start doing, and we already started. And we need to hold a demand zone. If we do, then we have a chance to turn this into a double bottom down here on the weekly chart, shoot up into 1.348 or whatever. But if we don't, which I believe is more likely at this point, looks like, we're not going to be able to do that. We're going to have to break down. You can see the 240 chart. This is the only zone that can save, I think, the pounds. There might be something over here on the 60. We'll look at it. I don't think it's as nice looking as this. Where we took out this nice looking supply over here, bang, bang, bang. But it's one move, rally, base, rally, base, rally. Pull back. What happens? We hit demand, we make a lower high, and then we just collapse. That's what we're looking for over here. Let's take a look at the 60 and stuff like that, where the levels are and what's going on. So there's the 60. That's the supply zone that we hit, which is that daily level up there. And then we created a lower high already, at least breaking down out of here. So, if you're short from up here, I would say this is the level that you have to make sure you hold, because if we don't, we're going to turn around and boom. But we're in the air. It shouldn't stop over here at all, right? It hit some small time frame supply. You should have another base drop. That's going to be another supply zone. And then we'll push up, we hit the supply, we're going to roll over again. That's the zone, really. That one is the one that I was talking about. I think has a chance maybe to save price. You could see what was going on over here. This one doesn't look as clean. It's kind of messy, not really support. There's a little bit over here, just at the bottom, but unlikely that if we get all the way back down here, well, that's going to be another time back with the lower high, right? Back into this zone again. It's not going to hold anymore. So the real strong demand that can do something is here, right? If we get back down there and it starts to hold and we turn crank around, okay, so we know that that's the end of the short, then we might just rally out of the top. Otherwise, this thing breaks, don't, look for something underneath here. Okay. Target would be something at, let's go see, 1, 2, where is that at? 5 or 6 or something like that. Yeah, let's go to the higher time frame. I'm currently in this trade, by the way. So there's my disclaimer. Okay. I'm in this short, and my target currently is at 125 underneath us. Okay. And yeah, right over here. The target's inside this sucker. If we hold this level of the 60 that I just showed you, I'm just going to close the short. That's it. Right? That's the plan. This level right here. If this level holds, take the profits. If it breaks, aim for 125 and change. That's the plan. Cool. Okay, next. Canadian. Alright, looking at Canadian, we can see still weakness. We get a doji candle on the weekly chart, but it's a inside type of a doji, right? It's lower high still, looking like it's pointing to further selling. The monthly candle ended up closing as engulfing with air underneath us, so looking like we're heading down. We're looking at a downtrend on the daily chart. We come back to levels of demand that have lower highs over here. So, what's going to happen? Well, we'll find out when we hit there, but that's the target for now. It looks to me like we're going to see a continued pop underneath us. Chance to hit like 75, 500 or something like that. Really lower down. Even this level might not hold. That's at 75, 6 and change. But for now, you want to be short. It looks like we have a bunch of air underneath us. There's only one zone again that can save anything. It's this thing. So it's like all the currencies have that one level that have an opportunity to potentially save price. If that level goes, it's all over. So looking to me like we'll see dollars showing strength based on what I'm seeing in the other currencies. Remember also that crude we saw a potential collapse down into 60. So Canadian cannot get supported with crude at that price level. So sitting in the air, looking like a head and shoulders, this points to breakdown. Look at this, nothing above us over here. If it wants to pop back to this sucker, that's like a gift. Hit the fucking short button. Unbelievable, right? So I don't know if it's going to get there, but that looks to me like a great entry for the short. Should we look up into that area? Otherwise, we're just going to keep breaking down under here, and the level that we're looking for is at 75,500. Okay, let's take a look at the 60 chart. There's the air. There's the supply that it hits. Fantastic doji. Look at this thing. Oh boy. Yeah, powerful doji. Right where the lows were. Tried to get back there. Couldn't do it. Hit the zone. Collapses. This thing should hold. It already rallied back into this little supply. You can see that it turned into twins already. So this is gone, breaking down into the air. That's the only zone that can save it if it's able to hold. So then, we'll have to wait and see if it creates a bottom somewhere. Otherwise, this thing is history. Based on the higher time frames, this shouldn't hold. Okay, but you never know. On the way down, underneath us after that, we're looking at here. I would say somewhere down here is the target. Just the bottom of the daily zone, basically. You're aiming for the bottom of the daily zone on the next leg down for crude, for Canadians, especially with crude collapsing. That's the plan. Once we get down there, we'll probably have a nice bounce because crude's going to hit 60, and we get a nice bounce at Canadian. So I'd be aiming for that level now with a short into that level, and then take your profits. Wait for the bounce, and then we'll figure it out again. Okay? Cool. Let's look at the yen. Okay, so the yen looks very ugly on the weekly chart. Looks like our wedge is playing out to perfection after we break down out of the weekly wedge over there, right? And we sell off and back test doji, and then we get a collapse, unable to get back there. So we've confirmed that level up there. Right? And now we're looking like new lows are on the way here. There's the little daily with a double top. Right, that's the confirmation of the break of the trend. There's the middle. The margin is down here, and then we have lower highs. It looks to me like we're going to get under here. The only thing that can save it is actually this level, but you know what? It got hit already on the outside. Produced a nice doji, but then we get immediately rejection of the engulfing candle. So here's the lower high coming back to the lows, and there's just air underneath us. So short yen, absolutely down into the lows. Look over here, you can see there's the air, so we have room all the way down into here. Question about that part at least. Oops, just moved the zone, sorry about that. Fix it up a little bit here. There we go. Okay. There's sitting on top of this air over here, back into this zone. That's about the only spot again that can save the yen. Based on what we're seeing, it shouldn't hold. We shouldn't be popping down. So any small time frame supply back is short and look for new lows underneath here. Let's see if we get that going on. And if that's true, so the market looks like maybe it should be rallying a little bit, right? We're a little unsure about the direction of the market. The yen is pointing down, so that usually means the market's going to try to rally at least. Let's take a look. That's the level of supply. That's the first level that we could try to attack. You can see the supply. This is downtrend already. And then boom, boom. That one is like the failed hammer supply level. If we hit that, I would try to short. Why? Because we're sitting on freaking air. There's nothing underneath us over here for a bit. Let's take a look. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, there we go. Look at all that. Delicious. So there's a little demand under there. But again, all these should break. I would be aiming for a new level on the daily level underneath us. So short for yen, off supply, look for new lows on the daily. Down here. So at least a test of the bottom, more likely that we take it out. So back down to here at least. So that's a nice looking short. You can see why, looking at, taking out this pivot over here on the weekly chart. Okay, cool. All right, next, nat gas. Okay, so this one is the trade of the week as far as I'm concerned. This is the trade I'm trying to catch. I started talking about it last week. It looked like it might have began and then it collapsed, and now it just roared back like, dude, love what I'm seeing over here. Okay, we keep talking about this bull flag that's forming over here off this level, and the air pocket that goes all the way to 3.5. Right, so there's a huge up move coming over here. You can see that we had resistance above the trend line of the daily. Look, when we start to sell off, we actually on Friday were low down, big red candle. Looked like it might want to pull all the way back, and then it just explodes. Look down here, we hit the demand of the 240, and boom, right back to the top. This thing is going to break this week. We're seeing a breakout trade. I wouldn't be surprised if we gap up tonight on Sunday. But we're looking for the long into 3.5. There's a fantastic, beautiful, beautiful demand zone on the 60. I really hope it comes to get us. Oh, sorry, it might be on the 15, actually. It's on the 15. If it comes to get us, I mean, that's the trade of the week. Okay? Huge trade. You can see that this is what I was talking about. We pull back down over here, looking like we were going to collapse, and then all of a sudden we catch some garbage demand over here at the 240 level, and then whew, wicked retracement. It was actually telegraphed on the bottom of the 15 as a V bottom. I was talking to my group on Friday about this move, and telling us right here, we're watching the basing on it over here on a small time frame, and it gave a fantastic looking hold right here. You can see what it was banging against this level after it shoots out of the bottom, and then here it is. That's the entry. Boom. And automatically look at the V, air above us, and then boom, flies through the top, right back to the highs. You can see what's going on here. This is it, right here. Demand. Look at the supply on the other side. Looks to be about 16 ticks worth of risk. This is an entry at 324. The target is 3.5 plus 300 ticks up. So this is a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. This is set forget status. Valid trade. Looks to be probably the best looking trade I've seen so far this week. And that's the one I'm looking for personally. It's not a lot of risk in there if you want to, sort of put the order in the middle zone or whatever. There is one little tiny thing underneath us. That little baby doji should have break the first one, just back up there. But either one, this little tiny thing over here, I just don't know if we're going to get back down there. I don't think we are personally. I'm going to trade the first one, and if we get down to here, I'm going to trade the second one. And as far as the breakout to the upside, well, that's a different story. We need to go take a look at what's up here for a second. Let's see if it just doesn't go. What happens if we just gap up? Let's take a look. I didn't look at that up there yet. Oh yeah, well, hell yeah. Like above us is just the air. Right? So yeah, above, break out long, get the risk off and let them ride up into 3.5 and change. Otherwise, if we get the pullback, I think the pullback is a gift. Right? So long on that gas, absolutely. Great. All right.
Recorded.
Okay, so we can see over here that copper had a fantastic, powerful move late in the week, Thursday, Friday, explosive move. You can see what actually happened, right? We had a little back test to the trend line break, it looks like, off the supply zone that was here, base, a whole bunch of weeks, and then we get the engulfing candle, pointing to the explosive move up. Looks like 2.9 and change. This is Trump and China saying blah, 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 good meeting, blah, whatever that is, because China is the #1 user of copper in the world. So anytime good news for Chinese economy comes, copper is going to rally. We have an explosive move. It looks to be like this is a higher low forming over here on the daily. After we have this little double bottom, we pull back, we hold this level now, and looking like it's getting ready to pop out of the top. This is a very nice bull flag with an explosive move coming, boom, out of here, bang, into 2.9. That's what I see coming over here. I want to get part of this. So, join the longs on the pullback into demand, looking for, new highs up here on this. Let's zoom out a little bit. So, really great level over here. There's one that formed near the top over here on the 240. It's the first level of demand. I'd like to see it get a little higher first before I trade this zone over here. Right, because we're still stuck up in those wicks. So we'll have to see if it looks like if it pulls back into here, right out of here, without getting up into the supply yet. But you're right, we can see this is a very strong move, wiping out all this mess. There should be one pullback, because if you notice, it's all one move off the bottom, at least on the smaller time frames. You have to start thinking that this sell-off over here put us into a downtrend. Right, so this is one move up, which means we need a higher low. I think that's probably the best looking zone for now. 275, if we get a pullback into that, I'm in. I like the long into 2.9. And otherwise, we're going to have to find the higher zone into the longs. Let's go look at the 60. Yeah, so there's the higher zone. Well, it looks like we're coming into some 60 supply, so we don't want to get long just yet. That's the zone. I like this one over here. The higher zone is this thing that's forming over here. It's a little bit of messy on the 60. So this is where I like the demand, 275-ish, right in the middle of this sucker over here. Really nice. There's still another level, even if that one doesn't hold. But looks to be copper longs is the way to go. Over here, in a pullback into demand, we're aiming for 2.9. I'm going to look for the entry over here someplace. Let's see on the 15 what it looks like. There's a level that looks really clean. Maybe something we want to pay attention to. So here's our 15 chart. Yeah, so that's the 275. It all points to the same location. This thing, right? Because after that, it's all air. This level has to hold for me, right? So something over here is pretty decent look. I wonder what kind of fib retracement that is, right? There's our rally off the bottom. Where's that put us? If we put an order in there, maybe if it's decent looking numbers. Let's see. There's the low. There's the high. And that's the 50% retracement. Okay. Doable. Right? That's the 50 fib. So if I stop, I try to get underneath there, because again, it's in the air. After that, if it breaks that level, then we're looking over here at 2.7. That's really big pullback. I don't think we're going to get that. But you never know. We'll find out. If Trump announces, yeah, we're going to put sanctions on China, and this thing's going to collapse. So we'll see how it plays out. For now, the chart's screaming long around 275. That's what we're looking at. Longs in copper. Cool. All right, let's go take a look at soy, because that also had a really nice move. All right, I'm sure you've been getting sick of me screaming every week about soy and the move that's coming. Well, I think we're finally there. It's time to get long. We're looking at a beautiful engulfing candle. Oh my gosh, on the weekly chart, after we hold the bottom on the rally-based rally, inverted hammer failed with a little doji, and then explosive move, bang, Take a look over here. We're getting a failed hammer on the monthly chart after opposing hammers off the demand zone. Air all the way back to the back test of the breakout. Hello, that's screaming. Up here is where we want to go. So we need to get into this, and this is a swing trade, and this is going to take us all the way back to, like, I would say 10 plus, at least the gap over here, minimum. So a really nice long starting, and this week looks to be the potential into the trade. So here's the setup. Let's go through it. Been waiting for this sucker for weeks. I don't have to go back into the recordings and see how long I'm talking about this shit. But we finally come back to the demand zone on the daily chart. Sorry, you can see over here, right? That's our low, and then we rally, base rally. We come to the supply. We sell off right to the zone, and boom, right back, new highs. So this level is going to pop. We're going to get a little back test into some smaller time frames. Demand over here. We have to join the long over here and start making our way through this. Okay, so it's time to get long soy, and it's again a swing trade, so plan accordingly if you're going to join this trade. Okay, plan to be in this thing for, I would say, potentially up to 2 months to get us back to the 10 number, right? So there's air there, so it could go quicker, but I would say that's what we're looking at. Looking at one of those longer time frame swing trades. Okay, so here's our move on the 60. Look what happened, okay? Explosion, right? Taking out all the highs. This is also related to China, right? Just like copper, they're a big importer of soy, so, you know, markets going to react to China saying, okay, you know, let's do business and let's buy some more soy. Explosive move, boom, 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 into the supply. Little back test into the demand on the 60, starts to flag out a little bit, right? So there's a ton of air under here. We don't want to see price going back under there, right? We're looking for some demand somewhere over here. We can make another higher low and just shoot out of there. Let's see what we got. We need to be above 874. There's a really nice looking zone, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere. Let's go see. I remember seeing something. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Take a look at the doji over here on the 15K. I mean, this is like, this is like a gift. There's the fake out, right? We break under here. We hit demand. The demand is right there. It's beautiful zone. So I picked up the leg in also only because soy tends to be a little bit wicky sometimes. I don't want to get knocked out. Plus, it's a swing trade. Allowed a little bit extra risk. Should it break that zone, we'd have to wait for this to actually work. I wouldn't take this zone anymore, you know, I don't, at this point, because you're going to have drop, base, drop over here. There's air over there. You know, this was a news move over here. But if we come into this sucker, we start holding this baby, that's it. I'm getting in. So I'm going to try actually a limit order in this zone for a long swing trade for soy. The target is going to be 10 for now. Okay, so a huge trade, right? So that's the level. That is fantastic. Love it. Okay, let's erase all. Look at that zone. Look at that tight doji. Oh boy. Yeah. Really nice zone. Awesome. Long side. So very nice. A couple of nice nat gas, you know, copper, soy, all looking good. Like the other stuff, okay, you know, so, but those are really some of the better looking trades. Let's take a look at the bond. Okay, so looking at the bonds, we can see that on the weekly chart, the supply zone is doing its job. We've back tested to the zone. We're getting a engulfing candle on the weekly bond chart. We're getting an engulfing candle on the daily charts. I mean, this thing is looking ugly. Okay, so the trend is still down. We've hit supply. We're collapsing. Drop base. We're in the air. We're looking at potentially hitting zone that we haven't touched since like 2014, 2015, levels we haven't seen in multi-years. And that's what the chart is pointing to right now. Demand is still underneath us. This level is not fresh anymore, obviously, and it's made lower highs. So, you know, could a little push up and then roll over? Maybe, but maybe not. So it's going to break the bottom over here. So the bonds, you have to stay short at this point. For now, you know, the trend is down on just about every time frame. Any rallies back into supply. There's some more zones even over here. On the 60 chart over here is another supply zone. Let's fix that up. And that's what we're looking at. Rally into supply, short down into 134. And so big shorts. Still looking over here. We're not showing any signs of holding any bottom any place on bonds. So until we start to do that, there's no reason to think you're going to do it. Short. Okay. There's the supply. Another level over there being formed. Looks like on Friday. And here's a very nice looking short for the 15 chart, right? We rally up into 137, whatever that is, 25, 26, 27, 30 seconds. Short again. Okay, look for 134. Something nuts. Okay, and that's what we're looking at over here. So that's the weekly webinar for this week. See you all on Wednesday. I don't know if Wednesday will be a webinar. And along the way, if things start to shape up, about the markets, and we get a better feel for the direction, I'll tweet it out. Otherwise, for now, stick to the plan. Okay, everyone have a great week, and I'll see you all on Wednesday.